Now we're on. All right, we're live for our second ever What If Wednesday, and our first with a featured star. And this will be the format going forward. I'm going to be quiet real quickly because we're going to keep these to 8 minutes or less. Real quickly to introduce our first guest is Matt Fischer. I'm going to let him tell everybody about who he is, and we're going to get a little bit about Matt's story here. So starting off, Matt, can you tell us about your business in 8 seconds or less? What is your pitch?
I run Sports Formulator, and we do data-driven sports predictions.
Okay, so Sports Formulator. And what did you do before you started Sports Formulator?
I've done several things. I sat in that cube for 10 years, probably, after I got out of college. I worked in financial services and had a job in government. I think I was born an entrepreneur. I think entrepreneurs, know from a very young age is you just got a different perspective on life. Like you look for opportunities, you look to make things more efficient. You're a bit of a disruptor, and you challenge things, I would say, probably more often than the usual person, just because you think you can do something better. Just because this is it doesn't mean that's the way it's got to be. So it's something that I think is just innate in entrepreneurs, like that mindset. And like I said, I've worked to that. I started a kind of more hobby business when I was like in high school, and I wasn't able to create a legal entity to have a business. I mean, I don't really call it a real business, but what
was it?
I was big into UFC when it started, and this was way back, really, when websites were just starting to get on the internet. When I was like 16, back in '96, and ran like a newsletter basically on MMA stuff, mainly covering the UFC, like doing interviews with fighters and like selling MMA VHS tapes.
Wow.
Remember those?
So your lemonade stand was a UFC newsletter.
Yep.
You actually landed real interviews with fighters?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was lucky. I was probably just too naive at 16. But I was like, hell, I'll just ask. People tell me no, they tell me no. Most people were very responsive. It was a fairly new sport. So, it wasn't a crowded marketplace or anything. I started when it was like UFC 6. Wow. And now they're at UFC almost 200 or so.
Yeah. Did you mentioned about being a disruptor? Did you find that made you a bad fit in your corporate job, your cubicle job, and your government job? This thing that you identified with being an entrepreneur, did that make you?
I work for big corporations, and not that all corporations are like this, but I think entrepreneurs aren't truly appreciated in most corporations because they want to have a lot of control on things, and it's top down on everything. And I think it's just very frustrating in that if you see like a process improvement or something, as an entrepreneur, if I find something today that would make the site faster, or be able to develop the formula or something better, I just go ahead and do it today. If I was sitting in a cube at a corporation, maybe 30 days from now we would, 6 months from now, who knows, bureaucracy. Working for the government, I was able to really get stuff done quicker than in a corporation.
Really?
Will blow a lot of people's minds probably, but.
Wow. What made your, if you could identify a single thing, what was it that helped you make your entrepreneurial leap from what you were doing to going all in on entrepreneurship?
I went to Startup Weekend here in Columbia a few years ago now, and it was just a good weekend. Like I wasn't really too familiar with Startup Weekend, but I heard about it like a week or two before the event, so I was like, I'm gonna go to this, and like it's a good experience to just get in there, like get the different ideas. I mean, there's always good energy, I think, when I've been to the Startup Weekend here, and like going back to work and sitting in a cube just doing the same thing every day, it's just incredibly frustrating. It was just an itch I needed to scratch, so I was like, I'll try it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'll get another job.
Cool. So what, as an entrepreneur, now that you've made the switch, what has been the biggest struggle that you've encountered or continue to encounter?
you know, you've got to earn your paycheck. I don't have paid time off. I don't, you know, I can't just count every other Friday I'm going to get paid like most people. Like, you know, we've all got to go out there and earn our paychecks.
Yeah.
Like, that's part of starting it is you're out there, and if you don't make sales, you don't get paid. So
Well, and the
what
other
keeps you
thing,
motivated? And I mean, money is the biggest problem, I think,
yeah,
with about every entrepreneur that I know is, you know, you just got to have enough to get going and hopefully stay afloat until the revenue really starts to come in.
yeah. And I think there is an answer to this, but you make sports predictions. How many days out of the year is there not a game that you need to make sure that you run the formulator through and make a prediction
I
on?
think 5. There's nothing during the All-Star break for Major League Baseball, and I think Christmas Eve is usually. I don't think I did anything on Christmas Eve this year.
So in terms of, it's a 9 to 5 or Monday through Friday, that doesn't exist in your
it's working every day.
every day.
I mean, if I don't have to run stuff, I'm still working on something.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Tweaks the improvements that you mentioned.
Yeah. I mean, you're always trying to market or come up with better things. I mean, I'm so much more efficient now than when I first started. Like,
Sure.
When I first started, it was 12-hour days were the easy ones.
I think we have time for one more question to land this plane under 8 minutes. Actually, there's 2. There's a bonus question, but the last longer question is, what's been the biggest reward that you've had from being an entrepreneur?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. I think just the validation of having I can go look my Google Analytics, see how many countries people have gone to sportsformulator.com from, and seeing that there's people out there that want it. And I have a lot of support. When I first got started, a lot of my audience was very engaged and they would give me good feedback, and I appreciate everyone that's willing to give me honest feedback on stuff, because that's what helps develop your business. Is you've got to listen to your customers, and the more they're willing to help you, better off your business is going to be.
Yeah.
So
it's that human relationship. Nice. The last question I have, and then we're going to end this segment and we're going to open it up for some Q&A, is who's going to win the Super Bowl?
I think the Seahawks. They were my pick last year, and they were my preseason pick. The Patriots. So I think they'll both win this weekend, and the Seahawks will win next weekend.
All right. Well, thanks for the free pick. And that's going to conclude our first What If Wednesday guest chat.